Acción, tu revista mensual de cine y series, con los mejores estrenos de cine, fichas y reportajes coleccionables, series de televisión y 4 pósters todos los meses. Búscala en tu kiosco.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, first of all, congratulations for the show. It's visually stunning. And of course, thank you so much for this interview. I want to ask you about the feeling of becoming part of such a legendary world, such a legendary universe as is Lord of the Rings. How's been that for you?
For me, it was a childhood dream come true. I'm a big fantasy fan. And so to actually enter into, and I was a very big Tolkien fan as well. I read the books when I was very young. So to be literally stepping into Middle Earth, I mean, it was incredibly surreal as well. But it was very joyous, actually. I felt like the little girl that I once was would have been jumping up and down in glee. I think she was internally, yes.
Yeah, and I think on that point that, you know, I felt when I was auditioning and then got the part and then went out to New Zealand and then started working, all these things I wanted to sort of celebrate with my family and friends and, you know, tell everybody about it. But actually it wasn't really possible for all sorts of reasons. And it feels like only now some of that is being able to be expressed. So I think, you know, a lot of the journalists are getting some of this celebratory sort of essence that I've had sort of bottled up for 2.5 years, just waiting to sort of talk about. So I sort of feel like it's come full circle really for me.
I think I've sort of kind of come to relate to fans in the way that I think you said it, that it, you know, you got I was based in London, got the part. You're getting to fly to the other side of the world, to the New Zealand where the films were and where you imagine Middle Earth to actually exist in real life. And then you get to put on this unbelievable costume. As you said, it's like going to a cosplay or, you know, cosplay fantasy world that is entirely designed for your personal experience. So it was literally like, you're going to pay me for this? Are you kidding me? Amazing.
Also, you're part of this huge story that we are going to discover in the Rings of Power is one of them less known for the fans. One of that is kind of a mystery for all of us. So how's been that? What are we going to discover? And of course, what can you tell us about the strangers also? Because we don't know who he can be, who he really can be.
No, I suppose that's true. And that's one of the joys of the work that we're doing, I think, is that we're able to, this is the first time on telly that people are going to, or on screen, I think, that people are going to be able to watch something in this legend, you know, in this sort of storyscape and not know what happens next. There are going to be some things I think that people will know or could find from reading back in the books and other stories, but there are going to be whole areas where they're taken into new worlds, new groups, new characters, and that's one of our really exciting selling points, I think. And you know, to keep that up in the air for the audience and say, well, yeah, so who is this stranger? Well, he's shadowy. He's a bit enigmatic. He's definitely got some identity crisis going on. So, you know, he doesn't know quite who he is, or he's definitely got some power. He's sort of got some mystery. How's all this going to impact on the community he comes into contact with? I think that is a great lead in for us, and hopefully it'll keep the audience with us as we begin to discover things, you know, through episode to episode.
And we know about the hobbits, but we don't know much about the Harfoot. So how's been that for you? And what are we going to discover from this new race and that they're going to become such an iconic characters in the franchise?
Well, I mean, I hope that people fall in love with the Harfoots because I love the Harfoots, but I also have found it incredibly fascinating, like as a fan of Tolkien myself, and knew of the Harfoots, but only because they're only mentioned sort of sporadically in Tolkien's wider works. I found it really fascinating that JD and Patrick, from the skeleton of what Tolkien, the little map that Tolkien's left for them, have created this whole tribe and this whole community, and explained why the Harfoots actually weren't known that well by the wider world, because they've survived a great war and they've decided to hide. One of their magic skills almost is their ability to remove themselves and keep hidden from the world. So I'm finding it as fascinating as I hope the audience will, of how their way of life kind of is.
Yeah, and the success of their aim, which is to stay hidden and unknown, was clearly very successful because Tolkien didn't even write about it. So we stayed off the radar very successfully. But I think it's also exciting that the relationship between the Hobbits and the Harfoots is that we are distilling what it is to be a Hobbit or a Harfoot down to this very precious, very vulnerable essence of hope and joy and compassion and empathy and humanity, that whether under incredible duress as the Harfoots or whether in the lapse of sort of, natural luxury as the Hobbits, it's still the same essence of being. And to see that put on a new look and be put into a new world almost highlights the importance of what the Hobbits and the Harfoots represent.
Well, again, congratulations and thank you so much for this interview. I'm really eager to watch the next episode because we only watched the first two. So thank you so much. Congrats.
Acción, tu revista mensual de cine y series, con los mejores estrenos de cine, fichas y reportajes coleccionables, series de televisión y 4 pósters todos los meses. Búscala en tu kiosco.